AITA for losing it when my fiancé sold my and my late fiancé's engagement rings. I, 33 lost my late fiancé to a severe infection, sepsis, in 2016. I proposed to her when she was sick and we were planning getting married 4 months after proposal. But she passed away and it was unexpected because her health was getting better. After being on life support for 10 hours, she died on 3/7/16 at 1 p.m. and was put to rest with her funeral on Saturday. This was so hard for me to deal with, and I had a hard time coping. The pain was unbearable. There was literally no place to just hide and forget about what happened. It's been 4 years. I'm moving on now. My then girlfriend, now fiancé of 2 months. We've been together for 16 months. Came around and we started dating. Then I decided to take a step forward and propose to her. She moved in with me after I rented an apartment and changed my job. I kept my and my late fiancé's engagement rings and let her family keep most of her belongings. Before I moved, I have the rings along with a few photos and stuff we bought together. My fiancé noticed the rings and said that I was weird for still keeping engagement rings. I don't know why she'd think that. It's not like I wear my past engagement ring on my finger or anything. But she seemed uncomfortable that I was keeping them as mementos. I've been struggling with money lately and she brought up selling those rings couple of times, but I just told her I'd work something out since she'd get sensitive if I told her they're so important to me. She'd react to that. My and my late fiancé's rings were missing 2 days ago. She told me she sold them on Facebook for X amount of money and bought important stuff for the apartment to help with a thing or two. I lost it. I told her she had no right to take personal stuff and sell them online for her convenience, and thinking she was helping, she lashed out saying that she didn't expect me to blow up like that and tried to justify her behavior by saying that I clearly still have feelings for my late fiancé, and asked why would I still keep my late fiancé's engagement ring when I already have a fiancé. I told her that she would never understand how much she hurt me and disrespected me by doing this. I asked her for some space and she said she wanted to spend the night at a friend's place till I figure out my priorities and realize I shouldn't have yelled like that. NTA, do not marry this girl. That was horrible and cruel of her. Find the buyer and tell them they are stolen property. Your fiancé is jealous of a ghost. Your fiancé the past would not want you to be with someone who would treat you that way. NTA. Find out who she sold them to and get them back. File a police report if you need to. This is theft. This would be a deal breaker for me. Op. I'm so sorry for your losses. NTA. NTA. You should file a police report, even if it means getting her arrested. Hopefully they can recover your stolen property. The relationship was dead the second she took cash from another person and handed them your rings. She has no respect for you at all. NTA. She stole something that was incredibly personally meaningful to you. I'd file a police report and break up with her. I do not see continuing a relationship with someone who did this. NTA. I'm going to bare my soul on something here. In 2009 I was sexually assaulted for the 3rd time in my life and was later diagnosed with PTSD. Late that year, maybe early next, I met a young man I will simply call Jay for this. Jay didn't take to me at first, but over time he began to see my pain and he began to help me. I was in the army, as was he, and he found out I had PTSD. He heard the things others said about me and knew about the illegal gag order my command put me under about my last assault. He started inviting me down to his room so I didn't have to sleep alone. Some days I woke up crying, screaming with his voice and scent calming me. Other days I woke up to him laughing, claiming I drooled on him. Beds in barracks rooms are singles. Not much space for two people, so a great deal of cuddling was necessary. Through these times he helped me sleep again, and the night terrors, nightmares eased for a time. Then in 2011 he was killed in action. The last time I had spoken to him, I was trying to work up the courage to tell him I was in love with him. He was deployed to Afghanistan at the time, and he interrupted to tell me about this great woman he met during his mid-tour leave. I never admitted my feelings for him, and a month later he was killed in action. I was head over heels for that man, and I was broken. I tell you this story of my past so that you understand. When I lost Jay suddenly, it was so painful for me. As painful as losing someone as close to me as your fiancé was to you. I even went to support groups for people who lost spouses, at the recommendations of others, to try and cope with my loss. I later tried to move on and dated and even became engaged to another man. And this man couldn't understand that I could love him and still mourn Jay. Every fight he threw in my face that I was still in love with a dead man. It was the most painful thing I could have said, and eventually led to him cheating on me. I tell you this to help you understand something. If she cannot understand that you can love her and still mourn, love the woman you lost as well, then she has no business being in your life. She will only ever use this as ammo against you. She is far too insecure for you and will never work to understand and work with your pain. Someday you will meet someone who can, but it is clearly not this one. NTA, your fiancé is a gigantic asshole who's clearly jealous of your late fiancé. Just because you want to keep the engagement rings doesn't mean you don't want to be with your fiancé. Those engagement rings are memories of your relationship. It's not like you two broke up. She passed away. It wasn't her place to sell those rings. Also, you two have only been together for less than a year and a half, and you're already thinking about marriage? That's too soon. NTA, what she did was theft, disrespectful, and wildly inappropriate. Your NTA. Your fiancé dropped these location flag. 1. She was jealous of a woman who has passed on. 2. Went behind your back and stole from you. 3. Decided to sell personal things of yours. 4. As you put it, she disrespected you and your feelings. So she's an asshole and a thief. NTA, do not apologize for yelling. File a police report that the rings were stolen. Pack her things and leave them on the porch. I am so sorry for your loss and that your next relationship was so bad. Please don't take this the wrong way, but 16 months usually isn't a long enough time to know someone's true self. She's showing you who she really is. Everyone I know who've lost a partner has never had issues keeping memorabilia of their lost one once they've moved on to a new partner. If your fiancé respected you, she wouldn't have even thought of you selling those rings. Call the cops. Get those rings back and get the heck away from that woman. She didn't have your consent, and instead of handing you the money when you were the one who bought the rings, she spent it. She's what I like to call trash. NTA. She stole and sold rings that had sentimental value to you, then tried to paint you as the bad guy when you rightfully got upset. It's not wrong to hold on to something that reminds you of your late fiancé, even if it's an engagement ring. Is there any way to track down the rings and get them back? You may be able to report them stolen and see if the police will help you find who she sold it to. NTA. It doesn't matter what it was. She stole from you and sold it. That is a trust issue that is hard to overcome. But she is very insecure, and your past, which involves someone else you loved, is not something she can control, so she wants it erased. She is small, petty, a liar, and a thief. She didn't choose just something at random to sell. Her insecurity drove her to choose a symbol of your late wife in all but ceremony. She resents that too. You weren't starving. Rent was paid. She spent the money on the apartment to justify her theft and crazy behavior. You need to break up with her if she thinks she needs an apology. Please, dump her and no regrets. You are dodging a bullet. Red flags everywhere and your story wasn't that long. NTA, please reconsider this relationship. Your fiancé has absolutely no respect for you. It would be reasonable to ask you not to wear them if you were. But keeping them in a small box of precious memories seems lovely. Your deceased partner was tragically taken from you. There is nothing wrong with wanting to keep a part of her. The fact that your fiancé stole the rings and sold them after talking to you shows exactly how compassionate she is, which is none. I would let her permanently stay at that friend's place and find a woman who has more empathy than a cockroach. Also, please file a police report. She stole and sold items that were yours. You deserve those back. NTA, leave her. She isn't mature enough to be married. You're better off with someone who respects your feelings. I'm so sorry she did that. She isn't mature enough to handle the complexities of being with someone who lost their partner. Of course you will always have love for her. It doesn't mean you can't love again. But you need to be with someone who is willing to honor what that relationship meant. I think it's time to move on while also checking to see if there is any way to recover the rings. The police may be able to aid in this. NTA, she's disrespectful and she sold them out of spite. NTA, I am so sorry for your loss. Both the loss of your fiancé and the loss of those mementos from your life together. I won't presume to tell you what to do, but I don't think you should marry this woman. This is a deep and fundamental betrayal. How could you ever trust her again? I would tell her that she needs to come collect her things and find somewhere else to live. Immediately. The relationship has ended and she is responsible for that period. NTA, do not marry his woman. NTA, she had no right to steal your belongings and sell them. I would lose my poop. Let Thea be a lesson. This is how insecure she is, and is not a reflection on you. When she comes back, take the ring you gave her 2 months ago and sell it to help you get through this financial hardship. Then get rid of her.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.